Okay, so we're gonna check out the tools and techniques used to record, mix, and finalize professional audio. Right, that's the class. There is no required textbook. However, if you are interested in this field of study, this Modern Recording Techniques by David Huber is what I've based some of the material associated with this class upon. It's not required, but there will be some reading assignments derived from this text, but the way that I've managed it is I'm going to give you guys a document that contains the chapter. You'll see the text. I mean, it might be tricky to read on a computer screen, and that's a drawback, but at least it's there, and at least it's free. What will we be up to? You'll either be listening to me ramble on about some specific area of audio recording, lectures, and we'll be doing studio demonstrations. So sometimes, instead of me giving a lecture, it's all right, let's get the mics out, let's set this up, let's test this scenario. And we'll be producing music with a digital audio workstation. Now, it is my hope that we can derive the audio from this fine group of musicians, right? So we can set up a drum set and record the drums. I could play drums if we need to, but it would be great to get you guys performing. So that means if you wouldn't mind bringing your instruments to class on recording days, once we do a little bit of planning, you've already done so. If you have access to your instrument, if it's nearby, that would be handy. Okay, and then obviously there are tests, graded and non-graded assessments. On Brightspace, there are quizzes and assignments, traditional like other classes, but some assessments in this class are oral examinations, wherein you use the DAW as I ask you annoying questions about how to use it. Okay, how do you hook up the microphone? Do it. How do you get the gain stage set? Do it. How do you adjust this track accordingly? Do it. Okay, so there are assessments of that variety too. But anyways, good to see you. Glad you're here. Okay, so let's check out. You are in my way, teams. Let's go back to the overview. We're just reviewing the syllabus here for practice. Okay, so your score in this class is based on 700 points. So let's see where those 700 points come from, so there's no ambiguity. Okay, so first of all, there are quizzes. And I'm going to give 6 lectures throughout the semester. And each one of those has an accompanying quiz worth 16.7, because 16.7 times 6 equals 100. So basically 100 points for these 6 quizzes. Okay, so that's 100 points. And then there are 2 types of tests. At the very end of the semester, I'm going to give a test that covers all 6 lectures. And that's worth 100 points. And then there are 2 studio proficiency tests. And this is what I was just talking about. This is the type of test where I ask you to perform DAW tasks and I grade you accordingly. There are 2 of those. So that's 100 points. The lecture exam is 100 points. Those 6 quizzes, that's 100 points. That's 300 so far. Okay. As I mentioned, I don't want to be the only source for you, so my lectures were written by me, but I do have reading assignments that correspond to this book that you don't have to buy, but might want to inspect. But I do have reading assignments based on that text, and like the lecture quizzes, there's 6 of them. So 16.7 points apiece. So it's almost like you get my ideas on this subject, and then you'll get one of the professionals. So it should balance. Okay, there are 2 mixed projects. This is worth 100 points. This is where I actually give you the stems. What are stems, Dewan?
Recording files from a session.
Yeah, recording files from a session. So we're going to be collecting recording files during sessions, during class time, and twice during the semester, you will have to take possession of those stem files and make your own mixes. Now, if you don't have access to a DAW on your home laptop, then you can just come to 121 while I'm teaching there. I'm teaching computer music technology and introduction to music technology this semester. Okay, so let's continue with the syllabus overview. I find no utility in harsh attendance policies, such as 3 classes and a letter grade and 6 classes and a failure. It's just that just puts me into the jurisdiction of adjudicating your excuse claims, which, that's fine. I trust you, especially this class. You guys are upperclassmen, and I'm grateful for that. But that's just not in my job description. I don't listen. You're all adults, and life comes at you full force. So I need you to handle your attendance in this class how you see fit. However, what I'm going to do is tally the total number of classes you attend with this attendance widget that's located on Brightspace, and give you a score out of 100 at the end of the semester. Do the math here. That's 100 points, right? It's just 1/7 of your grade. I assure you that this is the most lenient attendance policy you'll find on campus. Therefore, I do not adjust your attendance score for any excuse. It doesn't matter who died. It doesn't matter how badly you were injured. It's just you're here or you're not here. You're here or you're not here. And the rest of your score will be reflected accordingly. Now, this does 2 things. One, it puts you in the realm of handling the responsibility of attendance on your own, how you see fit. And 2, it removes me from the equation and your need to tell me any excuse. That's fine. I mean, you can tell me your excuse, and I'll listen to it with kindness and care. But I'm not adjusting your score. Now, of course, choir concerts and jazz concerts, those don't count. If you're like, I got to go to a jazz concert, then I just don't collect attendance data for that day, and it won't count. So you are accountable for anything that you miss during absences, and I'm not going to reteach the materials. That's another thing a trap that teachers fall into. Like, I'm here to teach the classes, and I've planned 30 of them. I teach the class the day that I've scheduled to teach the class, and that's when I've taught that material. Now, I'm attempting to document like I am here, but just because you miss all the time and you're habitually late or you're habitually absent, that doesn't mean that now I have to teach it again for you. Yeah, you missed that. So that's where the attendance policy comes to the fore. Yes, it's very lenient, but I'm not adjudicating excuse claims, and I'm not reteaching. Okay, because we got a lot to do. This is a 3-credit class. Okay, so I've planned every class accordingly. The difference is, though the lecture quiz, I've published it today, I'm going to teach it on Thursday, this definition and history of sound recording. And then on Thursday, I'll also publish this reading assignment. So today, we're just going to do this syllabus review, and I'll answer any questions you might have. But I've planned every class. So some days I'll be giving a lecture. Some days we'll be going over that which is covered by the reading assignment. And then some days we'll just be recording basic tracks. So next Tuesday, a week from today, I'd like to begin recording something. So I think in this class, what we have, we have enough instrumentalists that we can try something. Maybe we'll try some saxophone solos or saxophone duos, try a violin solo, try a vocal solo. Maybe we'll start there. And then I would also like to show you guys how to record a drum set. First thing we got to do is just figure out, like, how exactly do we go about, getting audio into our DAW. Okay, so then after I do a lecture on the definition of audio recording, I'll do a lecture on just what's happening here. Essentially, what I just described for you, but with a little bit more detail. Let's look at the details about how we're set up. We'll talk about microphones, right? This is the principal tool of audio recording. And then we'll listen to Huber as he talks about microphone placement technique. It's not enough to just get the microphones on and know what they are. Then it's like, where do we put it? And then this is a continuation from the lecture I gave in Introduction to Music Technology. Do you guys remember that lecture on signal processors, wherein I talked about reverbs and delays and compressors and equalizers? Maybe I'll review that stuff for you. But we're going to go on and talk more specifically about delays and chorus and flangers, the more sophisticated effects that are a little bit more difficult to understand. We'll talk about that. Okay, halfway through the semester, we're getting into March here. We'll do that first studio proficiency test. That's where I just ask you annoying questions. I'm like, what's this? What's that? Set this up. Put this microphone into action. and the first mix project will be due. It's just like an assignment wherein you can upload the audio file. So you'll create an audio file on your own, and then you upload it and you include an explanatory paragraph, similar to how you did in music technology, if you remember. Okay, what's this due date 1, due date 2 business all about? Let me make sure that that's clear for you. Here's another new adaptation I've implemented in my classes, and that is to have due date seasons. So the blue is due date 1. So like all the junk that I give you in the blue, that's due here, February 10th. Right, so that gives you some time, right? You're like, all right, I can do the assignments, and I can do the lecture quizzes sort of on my own, but make sure it's in before February 10. And then the pink due date is March 8th. Green due date, April 7th. Purple due date, May 5th. And then finals week is like another due date. And that's whenever the final proficiency test. It'll be just like you come here for your final exam, and it won't be written. It'll be the last proficiency test. We'll give the lecture exam the last day of class. But here is the complete list of coursework, right? There are 6 lectures, and there are 6 reading assignments, and those page numbers correspond to that textbook, but I'll be providing them for you. 3 tests, 2 mixed projects, right? So a lot to do, but I think it's manageable. It's manageable if you take your time and you apply yourself. Here's the due dates again. So we've got a little bit of time before the first one. Under the Contents tab, I'll be organizing the material that I publish with those due dates in mind. So I've done a fair amount of work preparing for this class at home, and I do have everything for due date 1 and due date 2 already uploaded and ready to go. Let's examine what I'm talking about here. Okay, so say it's Thursday, and I've just given this guy here. I've just given the first lecture quiz. Okay, so I have, the first lecture quiz, of course, is the definition and process of audio recording. So just click on that module, and you'll find a PowerPoint presentation in most cases, a Word document, and I'm in the process of getting videos for all my lectures. I don't have all of them yet, but this one does. So, if you want to hear me give the lecture again, you can watch the video. And then you just simply take the quiz. And it's usually 10 to 15 multiple choice true or false style questions corresponding to the material. And also, I'm going to be attempting to design these like learning activities in themselves. They give you the answers. Okay, so you take this quiz and you get a few wrong, you'll see which ones are wrong, and then you can take the quiz again. That way, you should get 10 out of 10 for all, or 16.7 out of 16.7 for all of these quizzes, though you might have to take them a couple times. The way that I have it configured, let me show you. I've configured it so that you can take these guys, 3 times. I make it so that whenever, you took the quiz, you did your best, it shows the questions and it shows the answers. Okay, so as you can see, I didn't have that done yet. But let me know if it's not configured. This Brightspace stuff, I'm getting the feel for it, but I often overlook little buttons and little toggles. Here's I forgot to press click to save. Here's my favorite button to forget, is this one here. Right? I'm like, all right, go take the quiz, and you guys are like, okay, what are you talking about? And I'm like, it's this, right? Okay, so I think for the most part, I got that taken care of, and I've made the dates happen accordingly. So that means all the stuff that's going to be part of due date 2 will come out February 14th, which, of course, if you're looking at the syllabus and you notice the color coding, that's whenever we transition from, blue to pink. Yeah, so this stuff will come out. Due date 2 stuff will come out here, right? Okay. I am grateful for you guys being here, and I'm looking forward to teaching this class